Hello, welcome to White Lady Gardening and Worm Farm. It's so good to have you, my fellow gardeners and worm farmers, on the live. So, today we're just going to be talking about our gardens. So, unruly here. Yeah, so we can just talk about anything you want to discuss regarding your garden. So, for a lot of us gardeners, whether we are beginners or we have been doing it for a while, there's one thing that is consistent with us is that we are always anticipating when the gardening season begin or the growing season begin, and some of us will actually start making preparation long in advance for the growing season. Yes, so I have been counting down, as a lot of us have been. Finally, the growing season is here. So we're pretty excited about that because for most of us, we might have all our plants planted out already, or we have some of it or most of it planted out already. So we're pretty excited about that. And we're just anticipating when the plants are going to start growing and the garden is going to look all luscious and nice. Yeah, so to distract myself as I count down for the growing season to begin, I have been doing making preparation for the growing season. So as soon as I harvested everything from my garden, then I start the preparation. So for those of you who started preparing your garden early, aren't you glad that you actually started doing so early? I know I'm certainly glad that I did. It was fun making all those preparation, and it certainly was a distraction from the amount of time that I had to wait for my growing season to start because my growing season ended pretty early here. The light is light is on. Why is it so dark? Or maybe my eyes are dark. Who knows? Yeah. So sitting down waiting for the growing season to get here, it was torture. Yes, it was a lot of torture for me. So yes, so I've done quite a few things though as I prepare for it. And I don't think I could have done any better because I didn't waste any time. Whenever I had time on my hand, I would be doing research for my garden. I'd be planning what I want to grow in my garden. Hi, Cece. I was planning how I want my garden to look, where I can add more beds to my garden, and so it was fun. Hi, Russell. When are you going to get frost again? August? Yes. Well, we can get frost in August. We don't usually do unless it's maybe the last few days in August, but September definitely we will have frost in September. Sometimes even snow in September, and it can be even the first week of September that we get snow. I've seen that happen quite well a few times, not quite a few times, but I've seen that happen a few times. So I'm pretty happy that I got started early because looking at how swamped I am now with work, if I did not start early, I would be ruined. And the most important thing I think that I did in preparation for the growing season this year was actually starting my plants indoors because usually if you don't get to start your plants indoors, I hand white. If you don't get to start your plants indoors, the moment they say this is the last frost date, you have to plant those seeds or else you won't be harvesting depending on what you're planting. So if you're planting things that produces fruits like your tomatoes and peppers, if you don't get it out within the first week after they say the last frost date, the chances of you harvesting anything is very low. So I'm pretty glad that I started indoors, and this year I started far more things indoors than previous years. If I hadn't done that, I'd be in trouble right now. I would have to probably go to the garden centers and buy plants because we had such a late winter this year. We even had snow the third week in May. Usually we'd have snow like the last week in April. We had snow the third week in May, and that is usually when we can start planting most of the warm weather crop. So, yeah. So, how many of you started preparing your gardens long in advance? Yeah, so I was able to get quite a few things done as I was preparing because I get to learn more about the plants that I'm growing because I started researching about them. So, with that in mind, I'm going to be doing a series of videos on the plants that are most common for people to plant in their garden and some of the problems that affect it and stuff like that. So, you can be on the lookout for those videos. Of course, I'm a bit too busy right now to get it started, so maybe in a week or two, I will get that series started. And I think it's going to be beneficial, especially for new gardeners and some of the issues that they will face. Yeah, so while I was waiting for the growing season to start, I was able to build a few trellises that I know I'm definitely going to need. And I thought I had built enough trellises, but then as I was out in the garden putting transplanting or sowing my seeds, I'm noticing that I don't have it. With all the preparation that I thought I did, I still don't have enough trellises, but that's fine. I have material that I can use. I don't have to go out and buy. I guess that's one of the advantages of my trade because you always have scrap lumber, although it's running out now that I'm not working in construction that much anymore. Yeah, so how are your gardens coming on? Are you having fun yet? Yeah, so I was able to build trellises. I was able to, what would that term be? Top up my garden with nutrients. Thankfully, we have the free compost depot because if not, I would not have been able to top up my garden from last year and just let it all of that stay there and gradually break down. Let's see, Russell says, I just finished planting tonight. Oh, I should finish planting tonight or tomorrow. Just the cukes and squash and melons left. Then I still have beans to plant. Oh, you're doing pretty well. You're doing very well. I still have quite a few things left to transplant, but I can honestly say most of my garden is fully planted, but I still have, well, I'm planting in all of my gardens. Some of them I've completed, and then I have some that I just started. Let's see. And right, it says, I made my homemade organic pesticides for those leaf miners. Nice. Am I going to see a video on that soon? You say that will teach them, yes. You have to teach them a lesson, know that they're not supposed to be there, eh? Okay. I'll be waiting for that video then. Yes, but I thought that my garden was fully ready for me because I did every prep that I could think of back then. But I'm still prepping my garden. I don't know. You spend all that time. I clean the garden. I remove all the debris from the garden, and I added compost to the garden. I added mulch to the garden, and at this time I'm ready to plant, I still have to be preparing the garden, and I'm wondering like what is going on here. But then with those Dutch elm trees that I have in my backyard, they're giving me hell with all the seeds that are falling in the garden. But what can I do? It's just another part of life that you have to live with. Unless one of you want to come and cut them down for me, but you'd have to do that in August. August to October, or no, or October till March. Yes, I think we have October to the 1st or 31st of March that we can cut it. Outside of that, you can't cut it, it is illegal because of the Dutch elm disease. But anyway, yes, but the garden is coming on quite nicely. Up until yesterday, I had only one garden that I hadn't put anything in. But today, I got to put quite a few things in that garden. So I'm pretty excited. I got my romaine lettuce planted finally. And my video tomorrow, oh, I'm gonna have, it was fun. It wasn't a video that I had planned. I was just doing some transplant just like shortly before I started the live, and I noticed something I wasn't expecting. So I got excited and like, oh, I should make a video out of this. Hi, Princess Lillian. Yeah, so I'm having fun. I think I'm almost finished planting up my garden. I have a lot of plants leaves. So when I look at the amount of plants that I have leave, I'm thinking, oh, I have a lot of things to transplant, but I think I've transplanted most of what I can already. It's just like a few of my sweet peppers that I have leave to transplant, and then my sweet potatoes, some of them I have those to transplant. And after that, I think I'm done. Yeah, but now I'm going to have to set up my watering system, and that is going to take quite a bit of time to set up because it's a lot of garden. Some of them won't even be able to get the drip system because I don't have the hoses to do that. Oh, you saw me in my garden earlier. Yes, I was having fun. So, mm, so I'm gonna be setting up my irrigation system. I'm hoping that I can get as much as I can done this week. But it's gonna be a bit tricky because from the distance where my house is to the garden is a bit of distance for the water to travel. And the water is in totes, as you may have seen in some of my videos. And I'm watering raised beds, so I'm concerned about how much pressure. I know I'm definitely not going to have any pressure because by the time that water travel to the garden, it's going to be, yeah. So I might have to create a system where I pump water from one location to halfway to the garden and then pump the water from there to the garden. We'll see. I'll figure it out eventually. But for now, if I'm watering with the hose, at least I can just connect the hose to the drip system that I'm setting up. So for those of you who were able to start making prep for your garden early, do you find that you are able to relax a bit now as you start planting, or is it still fast paced? And for me, it is still fast paced. I can't relax at the moment because I still have quite a way to go before I'm fully satisfied with the garden. There was so much that I need to get done, and I think I am out of space. A lot of the things that I had planned for, I'm not going to be able to plant them. But the good thing is that at least I can have a few of each plant that I had planned. But it's fun anyway. But I find it a bit tricky when I'm ready to do my transplant because in the days it is too hot. In the morning it's not too bad, but then the day quickly gets hot, and since in the last week or so the day get hot very quickly. I don't like to transplant and then the plants get the full sun right after. So for that reason I like to transplant in the evenings. But then in Saskatchewan, the evenings are the hottest part of the day. So between 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock, that is the hottest part of our days here in Saskatchewan. So, and that time when it starts to cool down, I'm going to be at work for now. So I have to be transplanting in the night when I get home. Unless, of course, we have a cool day like today. Today I cheated a bit because I was supposed to be doing some more preparation for the live, but The day was just too good for me to pass up. It was the right temperature because I think it was somewhere in the 22, between 17 and 22, and Fahrenheit, not Fahrenheit, but Celsius. And then it was overcast all day, so the day was pretty cool. So I took the chance to transplant as much as I could today. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I was planning to do some transplanting tonight, but I don't think that's gonna work out after I get home from work because I'm going to work a bit late today because I'm doing the live. So let's see. Russell says, my red regulars are going to be eating a lot this year. Lots of tomatoes and peppers, which is what I really like to grow. Okay, nice, nice. Yeah. But I cannot use those scraps for night crawlers. The seeds are too small to be sifted. Okay. You know what I've been doing recently for those, for my seeds, anything that has seeds in it and I don't want the seeds to grow in the compost or in the worm bin, I have been just putting the seeds or the fruit with the seeds in the microwave and just nuke it. Then I know they won't be growing neither in the compost nor in the worm bin. Why it says, I'm a bit relaxed at the moment. However, I'll be sowing a few more things in June. Okay, nice. And Princess says, I don't plant everything. I start others. I don't plant everything. I start others, get them. Okay, harvesting is hard. Harvesting is hard if to me, harvesting is hard if you're going to be harvesting everything all at once. That's just super crazy because then it can become overwhelmed, especially if you have a large garden and you look like you have a nice sized garden there, Princess. Just microwave it. I like it. Okay, yeah. Well, when I microwave it, I make sure that the seeds are properly cooked. So I don't just put it in for a minute. I put it in until I see steam coming out of it and I know that it is fully cooked because I don't want to take any chances and then they still start to grow. So yeah, I give it quite a few minutes in the microwave to be on the safe side. Yeah. Sometimes I put it in a pot of hot water and just let it stay there and steep. But I think the microwave work a little bit faster, so I just throw it in the microwave. Let's see, and White says, I staggered my plants this year. Good, nice. So you can harvest continuously rather than all at once. That's nice. Yeah, that was my plan. That was my plan, but a lot of things got thrown off where that is concerned because I'm still going to be staggering some things, but I won't be able to stagger as much as I wanted. So the only chance I have is with the seeds that I started indoors because they weren't all started at the same time. So because of that, then they are staggered. But anything that I'm sowing from seeds now, I won't be able to stagger them because the growing season is just too short. So I can't wait for too long to plant, unless of course it is lettuce or things that grow really fast. If it is leafy, if it is a leafy vegetable, then yes, I can stagger it. But if it is going to be something that produce fruits, then that's no longer an option for me. Okay, you're welcome, Russell. Okay, so let's see. And White says, I will be putting my food scraps in the microwave. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome, Ann White. Yeah, I've seen too many seeds growing in my worm bin. Sometimes you open up the worm bin and pumpkins or squash, just all you can see is pumpkin or squash, or you see tons of tomato seeds, so seedlings, not seeds, in the garden or in the worm bin. So I start nuking them in the microwave because, yeah, and especially since I am working on putting some of my castings on Amazon, so I don't want to be selling castings that's gonna have seeds and stuff like that in there. So for that reason, I have to make sure that I do everything I can to control the seeds. Let's see, you can roast pumpkin seeds, edible. Yes, I don't roast mine. What did I do with mine? I don't know, what did I do with mine? Oh yes, I boiled mine for very long to tenderize the skin of it so that I can strip it out of the skin because I don't have one of those nut openers that you'd use to open the pumpkin seeds. But yes, I do heat the pumpkin seeds. I like it. I like it, and then sometimes I want to use the seeds in my cereal, and I do use a lot of pumpkin, so I usually have a lot of seeds. Well, when I say pumpkin in Canada, I'm talking about squash because I don't eat what they call pumpkin here. It's too chewy. Yeah, I don't like the texture of it, but yeah, so squash is what I'm talking about. I do eat a lot of squash, so I have lots and lots of seeds. I have seeds that I harvested from squash to plant from maybe 6 years ago. Because I don't know, throwing out the seeds feel like mm, I'm wasteful. So sometimes I just put them down, but they never get used. Or sometimes in recent times, I start processing the seeds to eat for myself. Okay, so you roast your seeds as well and boil some. Okay, yeah. What do you use yours for? Do you put them in cereal? Because I know you like to make your little breakfast cereal mix sometimes. So, question: what are some plants that you have to have? It's good to have in your garden. What are the plants that you considered very important to have in your garden? So there are some fruits and vegetables. Oh, you snack on them. Okay. Yes, some fruits and vegetables that definitely is a must have in my garden. So my carrots and my cucumbers and my tomatoes. And now that I'm able to access Scotch bonnet pepper, those are must have in my garden. And the corns, I can't leave out the corns. I go crazy for corns, but I don't particularly like the corns I'm getting here. But anyway, it is corn, so that's why I grow flint corn because it seemed like when you go to the store or the garden center to buy corn grains to plant, the only thing you can see is a wide variety of sweet corns. So I grow flint corn instead. Yeah, so corns definitely a must have. But there are some plants that are very good to have in your garden because of their pest repelling properties. So I'm just gonna share a list of them with you. I know most of you are familiar with these, and a lot of you grow them for that reason already. But just in case there are people who are new to gardening and they don't know who are watching the live, then yeah, so some of those plants that you can use to repel pests in your garden include things like your catnip, your thyme, your chrysanthemums, basil, dill, mint, echinacea, lavender, parsley, garlic, marigold, rosemary, cilantro, onion, borage, sage, and so much more. The list is quite extensive. Some of them are flowers, some of them are not necessarily edible. Some of the flowers are edible, and then the rest of them are usually herbs. For whatever reason, herbs are excellent as pest repellent in the garden. Okay, so and White says kale is what she has to have in her garden. Okay, Let's see, Russell says pumpkin seeds on a cookie sheet, salted. Awesome. Oh, I've never really tried that. Well, I've purchased the salted pumpkin seeds from the store, but I've never really tried making it. Oh, you want to grow catnips for your little babies? That would be your little kittens or your cats, right? Yes. Do they like it? Is that why you want to grow it for them? I don't really know much about catnips. I've only heard about it. I don't know if I've ever seen the plant. I've never grown it, that's for sure. Not sure what it is used for apart from pest repelling. Okay, you want it for your cats. Yes. So, apart from worm castings, if you could choose just one type of pesticide to use in your garden, what would it be? Why would I want to do that? That would be cruel. Yeah, so if you could have just one type of pesticide in your garden apart from worm casting, what would it be? For me, it would definitely have to be diatomaceous earth. And it would be diatomaceous earth. Praying mantis? Okay. Did you say you bring in some? Was it you that said you brought in some praying mantis? And if so, how is that working out for you? Are they doing okay? For me, it would be diatomaceous earth because most small insects will be destroyed by diatomaceous earth, and that is because of their waxy exoskeleton that they have. Those so the diatomaceous earth, because it is rock particles, then it will cut into their waxy exoskeleton and lead to them becoming dehydrated. So for that reason, I would want to have diatomaceous earth if that is the only pesticide that I can have. Other type of pesticides, these insects or pests can get used to them or if you use them too often. But with the diatomaceous earth, there is nothing they can do to get used to it because it is rock particles that they're crawling over. So whatever they do, it is going to destroy them. So that is the reason why diatomaceous earth would be my first line of defense for pesticide. Let's see. And why it says, I started a herb box, but not to repel pests. Okay. I've never really planted a lot of herbs in one location, but I would like to put quite a few of them in one location because of the smell that each of them carry. I'd like to know how those scents would combine. Would they give a nice aroma or what? And especially as you go through them and you break a piece of this one and a piece of that one, what would the scent of those herbs combined be like? Let's see. Russell says, I have some eggs to set outside this week. Okay. Okay, so you'd have to have eggshell and white. Eggshell is your go-to. Okay. Yeah, so diatomaceous earth, definitely. Oh, hi, Magnesian. I see you got away from your job or from your work. It's good that you're able to join us. I haven't seen you in quite a while. I know you're quite busy at this time of year, but it's nice that you were able to join us. So you say sorry for being missing for time. I bought a wood splitter and gone into firewood business. Pure work for some time. Hope everyone has been doing well. Yes, that's nice. I guess now is the time when everyone wants firewood because people are going to be going camping and having fun, whether in their backyards, doing roasting things on their fire pits and having fun, sitting by the fire drinking beer or whatever they drink. So yes, I guess it's a nice business to do at this time of year. Oh, you have praying mantis eggs. Okay. So how long can you have the praying mantis eggs before they actually start hatching? Do they need a specific temperature for them to hatch, or will they just hatch once they have been laid? Okay, just taking a break as the worm work is done for the day. Then on to the garden. The work the worm work is finished, but work itself is never is it? Soon as you finish on the worm farms, you have to go and look after the garden. The only thing you start gardening and worm farming is fun, so it doesn't seem to be as tedious as it actually is. Okay, take care, Princess. I hope you have a wonderful evening and thanks for being here. Hi, sunny day girl. How is your garden coming on, sunny day? Yeah, so as I was saying, the work never ends. I've been going to work in the evenings these days, and when I get back from work, sometimes I get back 9:30, sometimes I get back 10 o'clock. I'm just working a block over from me, so I'm not far away. But White Davy, that's my name. The front garden is very pretty. Okay. I have morning glory flowers. Oh, I don't have any of that. I wanted to get some of that and I wanted to get some portulaca. I really love portulaca, like really love portulaca. But when I saw them at the garden center the other day, for whatever reason, they didn't look like I want to buy them. I don't think they look as nice as I wanted them to look, so I didn't get them. And then I'm not sure where I'm going to put them. Last year, I bought a long tray of them, multicolored, and I didn't know what to do with them, so they stayed in the container that I bought them in. And it is those are the flimsy seed trays that they were in, and they stayed in that for the entire growing season or for the entire summer. So I don't really know where to put them because I don't really have a lot of space for garden. Maybe I should put them in against the house in the backyard. Since I intend to put some flowers there. Yeah, I think next time I go and see some looking good, I'm gonna do that. I am keeping the mantis eggs in the basement. I just have to hang them with twist tie wire on a few branches. Okay. Sunny Girl says, but the back garden was eaten by bunny rabbits. Oh, I'm so sorry you're having issues with those bunnies. I don't know what's gonna happen with my with my garden and my bunnies yet, because the bunnies tend to come in to the backyard. But since as I'm just putting plants out, so there wasn't anything for them to eat. I saw one running from the backyard a few weeks ago, so maybe came to prep out to see if there's anything ready for him to eat. I saw quite a few beets in my two beet raised bed, and they germinated some of them. But for the life of me, I don't know what happened to them. They're just not there. I know they didn't get eaten by rabbits because they weren't large enough for rabbits to eat them. I don't see any evidence of cutworms cutting them down because then you would at least see a part of the stem or something. But For the life of me, the beets are just not there. And something seemed to be going into my potato beds and digging up my potatoes. I don't know what's doing that, but it's not a lot that they're digging up, so it's not too bad. See, Bejan says, I'll be catching up on the videos tonight. You put out so many. My favorite are the comparisons. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I do videos one every day. Occasionally, I'll skip a day or so, but yes, I usually have videos daily. Oh, you've never heard of beets? Beetroots? Okay. See, Bejan says, hold on, Russell, I missed that. Mantis is good for what? Russell is too way too advanced. Russell like to stay ahead of the game. I like that though. Yeah, he likes to be ahead of the game. It's good. Okay, so you will sow some beets in a few days, and why? I'm thinking of doing the same thing too. I have to go and reseed all those two beet beds because whatever it is that destroy them. But I'm wondering if maybe I should start them somewhere else, like in a growing tree, and then transplant them when they're large enough. At least that way, I'm more sure to get them. But I was so looking, I planted so many of them and looking forward to them. This year, I have two different varieties. I think one is called something like cylindra. I'm not used to that term, but it has a cylindrical shape. So yeah, I was so looking forward to them, but for whatever reason, they just don't seem to be there. And there's no evidence of something digging them out, although the plants are so small, you would know. So I don't know what's happening with them, but I'll try again because I do intend to have quite a few beads. Russell says mantics take care of insects, pests. Okay. Hi, Leafy Wiggy. Yeah. And those are the guys. They're nice. I like having them around, but not, as you say, leafy. They don't really grow here. They don't survive here. I don't know if maybe other areas in Canada, if they will do well, but definitely not in Saskatchewan. Human beings should not be living in Saskatchewan anyway, unless it is something that they really, really enjoy. Saskatchewan is not fit for living. Anywhere that you're living and you don't have enough growing season, that you cannot plant enough food to take care of yourself in case of emergency, it's not worth living. It's too cold. But it's getting nice and warm now. I think we're having double digits overnight for the most part these days, so that's good. I'm looking forward to being outdoors more as soon as I get this work off me. Okay, so let's see. What Beishan says, ever thought of putting out a trail cam to see what's going on in the garden at night? I do have a camera pointing in my backyard so I can see some of what's going on at night, but there is one portion of my garden that I cannot see. Yeah, I do think about putting trail cam out there, but I'm more concerned rather than concerned about pests in my garden or what animals coming into the backyard. I'm more concerned about my little old neighbor over there. She's the one I want to put up the trail camera for, so I can see what she's up to when she's messing around with the things in my backyard. She doesn't come in my yard, but she'll climb on the fence and do whatever she can get to do from there. Or she'll get one of her minions that assist her from time to time to carry out her evils. But apart from that, I've never really thought of putting up trail cam to see. But then, given that someone ripped off a portion of my temporary fence last week or the week before in order to get into the backyard, it would be a good idea if I to put up one of those trail cam. Okay, you purchased the eggs from Amazon. Yeah, I don't think they would do well in my region because I know they tend to like the warmer weather. So, Macbejan, how is your garden coming on? Are you able to get things planted out yet, or are you still planting at the moment? Uh-huh. I have some beans. Oh, those are not beans, are they? Yes, they're beans. Oh, hi, Rodney. It's been a while. How are you doing? Yeah, I have some beans that I want to get planted, but now I'm out of space and I don't know where to put them. But I'm gonna see. I was saying that I could not get any more space to plant anything, but now I'm thinking of, you know what I'm going to say, right? Yes, I'm thinking of getting where I have my large red containers. See if I can sneak some of those 5 gallon buckets in there to do some more planting because I don't have enough space to grow all the cool weather crops that I want to grow. So I'm wondering if I can sneak in a few more 5 gallon buckets. Let's see. But Bejan says I was able to get out my peppers, and that's it so far. Hoping this weekend to have real time like Sunday-ish. Okay. Yeah. It can be tricky when you're busy to get those things out into the garden because it was quite, even now, it is quite a challenge to get the things out in the garden. I have to be saying, you know what? If it doesn't matter what is going to happen, I'm going to put everything aside and just go out there and get things into the garden. So last night I did quite a lot of transplanting actually because I came home from work that was 9:30 and I went into the garden and decided that I'm going to be planting because we still have a bit of daylight until about almost 10:30. So I went out in the garden and transplanted all that I could because in the morning I started transplanting and then I noticed that the plants were not happy because it was, although it wasn't very hot, but for whatever reason the plants didn't seem to like the temperature. So I decided to stop. So instead of sitting down wasting all that time, I just dig the holes and had whatever nutrients I'm going to be adding to it. So when I came home from work last night, I didn't have to do that part of the prep. So because of that, I was able to get quite a few things transplanted. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that tonight as well. Dig a few holes after I get home from work, and then when I get up, well, I don't think I'm going to transplant anything tomorrow morning. I want to do it in the evening when it is cool so that the plants can have longer cool weather. Let's see. Okay, great in mid-Atlantic US. Working on a family garden. Excuse me, working on a family garden now. Getting rid of grass using a hoe. I haven't seen a hoe in years. Yeah, and you don't see those in my region, unfortunately, because I've always wanted one, but I've never really seen one. I guess I'd have to go on Amazon if I want it. And then sometimes I don't really like to buy things if I'm not there to look at it in person because I want to make sure that I'm getting good quality stuff. Sometimes you look at things too and think they're good quality and they're not. But this year, for the first time, I am doing a no dig garden method. So because I put down the compost and then cover it with mulch, so now I just have to move my mulch and dig into the compost to do my planting. So I'm trying the no dig method and I'm gonna see how well it works out because I don't know, but I hear them say that you're disturbing all of the little insects and microbes and stuff in the soil when you're constantly digging. So I'm gonna see. Well, I guess this year would not be a good year to see how the plants do, because this year is the first time that I've actually gathered compost that I did not produce myself and cover my entire garden with it. So if I am to try and see how the no dig work, it would not be a fair result because it's the first time I'm using compost in this method. So it might interfere with the results. But it would be nice. Maybe next year I can do the same thing and see how will it work out, if there is any visible difference. Let's see. Okay, you transplanted some Scotch bonnet peppers in your parents' garden. Nice. Hey Rodney, you can use a square hole to skim off the grass first and then dig with the ground. And then dig with the ground. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I should do a video on my no dig. I never thought about that, but unfortunately I've already planted up the gardens. Yeah, there is not much left to do anyway. It is quite tedious though, when you use the wood chip mulch, it is quite tedious to plant in between, because you have to be moving those mulch out of your way and then dig your holes to plant in. It is tedious, and then transplanting for me this year is more tedious than it has ever been, because usually I would dig my hole and add whatever nutrients and just put the plant in there. But this year, because I had such an issue with cutworms last year, I have to be putting the plants in some form of container, whether it's some plastic cup or it is those tissue rolls. I have to be putting the plants in those first and then planting them into the ground. So transplanting for me is taking quite a bit more time than it usually would, but I guess it is worth it because, as I can see, the cutworms, they did get to my peas, quite a bit of my peas actually. So I guess it's worth it. Why do I look like I want to sleep? Hmm. Okay, Rodney says, thank you, Bayesian. We are just so used to using a hoe from a direct sowing. Got you. Do what works, I say. I would often learn more about the no dig method. Okay. Yeah, they say it is beneficial because you don't want to be disturbing your soil too much, because you disturb the life forms that are there in the soil, and all sort of things about it. So, really, it's not that I or intentionally start the no dig method. It's just that with there's no need for me to till my soil, because the soil with all that compost that I had it last year or the year before, and the compost that I had it last fall, I don't need to dig deep enough to plant anything. So there's no need for me to be digging. But yes, I can do that as I can do the no dig discussion as next week Monday's live, if all is well. Maybe I should jot that down. That way I'll be able to provide more in-depth information, because I only know the gist of it. Yeah, but I don't know enough. pen is foaming like crazy. Okay, let's see. Oh, you have less snails and slugs when you do no dig. Yeah. I know that one disadvantage though of the no dig method is that creatures that don't like to be exposed to the sunlight and they're living underneath your soil, like your cutworms, if you do no dig method, then they can just stay there and hide in your soil. But when you turn the soil regularly and they get exposed to the sun, they get eaten by other predators like birds and stuff like that. So everything has a positive to it and everything has a negative to it. But we just have to, whatever decision we're making, compare the benefits as to the drawbacks of it, and then based on whether or not we're satisfied with the results, then we can go ahead with it. Hi, Growing with Jay. How are you? Yeah, but if you're going to be doing the no dig method, then it would be a good idea to make sure that you have soil that is very rich in organic matter, because then the chances are that your soil will be loose and crumbly so that it is easy for you to plant in. Because if your soil is very hard and you try to do the no dig method, your plants are not going to be able to send roots properly. And if it is root vegetable that you're planting, you're not going to be able to harvest anything. So, like I said, everything has positive and negative about it. Let's see. And why it says I mainly grow in containers and planters, so no dig is not for me. I might try no dig method next year. Okay. Let's see. Russell says the BT Kurstaki is the BT to use for cutworms. What I use for flying insect is BTI. Okay. And let's find me a pen that's not foaming. Huh, a new pen and it's not writing. Hmm, it's called BT Kurstaki for cutworms. I just might try that because those are the buggers got my peas. One of the good things is that my plants this year, because I started a lot of them so early, so their stem is a bit more on the harder side. So because the stem is a bit hard, maybe all of my plants won't get destroyed by them. But yeah, I would like to try that if I can find it. So how do you use that BTK? Let's see. You have kids. How do you have pens right there? My kids have my kids have those pens gone quick. Yeah, well, they know the rules. When I'm buying supplies, they get their pencils and their pens and whatever. They keep theirs on their side of the office, and I keep mine on my side. Don't come on my side and touch my stuff. Although that doesn't seem to work so much for the pencils. As soon as they lose their pencil, they will come and snatch mine. But Thankfully, they don't seem to be messing around with the pens, but I've got tons of pen, and they are full of ink. Some of them I've never used them ever, and they just don't want to write. It's so infuriating because I buy so many pens all the time, and I can hardly ever find a pen that writes. And when I do find pens, I just bought a set of pens, and all of the darkness that you're seeing there is the pen foaming. And they're all foaming, and I just bought the whole set of them. So I don't know what to do because you don't know where to turn for good pens. And the reason why I bought this pack of pen is because I had the blue one to it, and it write quite nice, and it did not foam. So I thought, oh, this is a good quality pen. But then I went on Amazon to look up the pen and saw these and saw that they were the same brand, so I bought it. That was a waste of money because they're all foaming like crazy. But I guess that's life anyway. You win some and you lose some. Yeah, so I'm gonna be going to work in the next half an hour. So in a few minutes, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to you guys. So if you have anything that you want to talk about for the next couple of minutes, fine. Let's see. Amazon, that's the answer right there. Yeah, you never know what you're getting. That's always the drawback about shopping online. You can only look at things and assume, but you never really know what you're getting. You know, maybe I should have sent it back. I never thought about that, but it's too late now. I've had it for past the amount of time that I should have it. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so if there are no other comments, then I'm going to be saying goodbye. It was nice talking with you guys. I had fun. So if all goes well, I should have that information for you, Rodney, about the no dig method. Yes, I know what's his name, Charles Dowding or Downing or whatever or Dowing. Yeah, he does a lot of that. So I know you might want to check out his channel too for more information on that. All right, so thank you guys for being here. Have a great week. Same to you, Russell. Yeah, so all of you enjoy your week. Happy gardening. Have a blessed night. All hope to catch the next live chat. Yeah, hope to see you here too. We did miss you a lot. Yeah, so take care. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I hope to see you again on Friday. Bye, Ann White. See you. Take care. Stay safe.